always told me it was very, very large, about the size of a 5-bedroom house. I think it's a lot bigger than that. I mean, it is really big. I can work for an entire morning in one module and not see anybody else for half the day because we're all working in different parts of the station. Over. Personally, I think there probably is. It's just going to be a matter of time before we discover that and find that, and we're kind of taking the first step now by living and working in low Earth orbit, and then eventually towards Mars and even farther. Over. Yeah, I think the hardest moment, actually, with all the training we do, because a lot of it is overseas, is leaving our family each time. And that may not have been the answer you expected to hear, but it's we spend about 60% of the time away from home, and so the constant going back and forth and being away from your family, even though you're doing a lot of really neat things, especially training in the Soyuz vehicle and on the space station systems, it's still difficult. One of the most enjoyable experiences, though, is actually finally finishing that training and having all your instructors tell you that you are ready to fly. Over. So the food up here is actually of a wide variety. The only thing is it is pretty mushy. We don't get a lot of texture because a lot of our food are similar to what the military eats, kind of in sealed packets that are shelf stable and can last for long periods of time. So we miss things like even crunchy chips or crackers, and so sometimes will come up like Dragon, which just docked. Then we're able to get some of those treats. Over. Absolutely. I was watching shuttle launches as a child, when I was really about 7 or 8 years old, and it kind of made the decision then. I didn't know what path I would take to get there, but it eventually all worked out. Over. As cool as the ISS is, Earth is definitely our home, and you do miss Earth while you're up here. You can see it quite a bit, but you miss really the feel of Earth, the wind, the rain, everything that's associated with Earth. So my answer would be Earth. Over. So we've actually grown a lot of plants up here so far. One plant called Arabidopsis. We've also grown lettuce and kale because, again, you're in the controlled environment of the ISS where we can tightly control the CO2 and also how much water the plants get. These are very small growths at this time. It would be really neat to see if we could get much larger areas to grow plants in the future. Over. So Alfie, that is something called surface tension, and that's what happens up here. All liquid does that, so you don't really pour anything up here. It just forms a big blob. I could drink water out of my hand because it will just stick to my hand like that. Interestingly, that also happens if you get a small cut on your finger. The blood just forms a small blob on your finger and doesn't really drain anywhere. So it's very interesting to watch how fluids act up here in microgravity. Over. Actually, no difference. Probably most of the science and stuff that you read about was because we just happen to have more male astronauts than female right now. But the first thing we smelled when coming in the space station after our vehicle docked, for me, was a burnt electrical or metallic smell. And that's from the atomic oxygen hitting the hatch of our Soyuz spacecraft before it docks with the station. And you get that same smell every time. When someone goes out in a spacewalk and they come back in, to dedicate that space to just growing plants and vegetables and trees and flowers. The Martian atmosphere and certainly soil is not very habitable. Could we adapt that soil by adding nutrients? Possibly, and that's some of the stuff we're studying up here in the space station right now. Over. it kind of keeps everything compressed, but up here, it stretches a little bit, and so some people will have back pain the first week or so, and then they quickly adapt to that, but that's how we get tolerance over. Yes, it is. It is very bright up here, especially if you're looking outside the cupola as the sun